I know where there's some, right here in the hall, clerk.
No, Molly, not in there. I have enough.
One of these days.
Right, I've put a groove in here that the epoxy can sit in, and I've done pretty much the same over here, and I just, because I couldn't get the bit in there, I rounded that went off. So I've got two kinds of repairs to do. This one is fairly flat with a sharp bend right here. So I need to have something that will go around that, like that, to hold the epoxy, because the epoxy will go in from this side. So a couple of options. One is polystyrene, I think this is. Oh, let me look. Yeah, polystyrene sheet. This one is 0.2 inches thick, and theoretically epoxy doesn't stick to that, so I'm going to run a test with that, see if that's true. The other question is, will this run around? So I'll tape it down to here, and the question is, will it make that corner? And it might or might not. So I don't know, it's pretty thick. Maybe I can crease this. I don't know, but the first thing to do is to test this and see if the epoxy will fit or will release from it. The tough ones are going to be these two pieces. They're going to be, I can't just put a piece of paper in there and pick up the curves in here. So what I'm going to do is take some plain old Sculpey, some modeling clay. This one happens to be kind of pottery red, but you work it and soften it up, and I'll mold this right to that, to a healthy piece here, a well-formed piece of this plastic, and let it dry, then take it off. It should lift off, and I'll mold it down with a piece of plastic film in here for a mold release, and let that dry a bit and firm up. Then I can just slide it over and cover this, and then it'll get filled from the back. Kind of the same thing here. I'll put a piece of Sculpey right here to pick up. Well, the shape is the same. I just do it right here, and then put it over that hole, and again the hole gets filled from the back. So that's my plan. I switched to this air dry modeling clay from Craft Smart. Don't know who they are. I'm going to break off a piece here. And I don't have any experience with this at all, so we'll see how this goes. I'm going to put that in this bag and put it aside. Put some film over that. It says to knead it, which I will do. Okay, everything that's going to dry has dried. So first asking whether epoxy sticks to wax paper. This is the wax paper, a little bit of wax paper. And the answer is sometimes. But it leaves a nice smooth finish on the epoxy. So wax paper is not bulletproof. Here's the polystyrene right here. And that's not bad either. And it also leaves a very nice finish on the epoxy. So of the two, polystyrene looks better to me because it's stronger. I've got 2 weights of polystyrene here. This one is 0.02 inches. This is 0.015 inches. And the issue is, how does it go around that corner? It looks to me like the 1.5 will do a better job. I'll have to crease this across here, I'm pretty sure, to get it to take the corner. Regarding the clay here, that's dried. It's not dried flat. It's dried cupped like this. You can see a cup there. Don't know if you can see that or not. Anyway, it's slightly cupped. What I'll do is tape a piece of sandpaper to my bench, which is pretty flat, and just flatten those 2 pieces out so that they're not quite so badly cupped. But as to whether they'll fit, the answer is yeah, it looks like they will. So in that case, I've got both the broken open section here is filled, as is the round hole. So I'll be able to get those both at one time. I'll have to put something on here to keep the epoxy from flowing. Although the JB Weld with steel reinforcement doesn't flow very much. It's not like the more liquid epoxies. It's very thick and doesn't level terribly well. But it is very strong and it will cling to this stuff. So I think I'm in good shape now. What I'll do is go ahead and sand this flat here, and we'll move forward. Okay, let's see if we can tape this down. Well, although this is well and good, it's going to hold the epoxy in. I'm afraid it will also, I'll have to leave it like this to dry overnight, because this is slow drying epoxy. So I need to dam this edge up too. So I've got another piece of the plastic here. I put it right here and traced it. I'll cut it out with a pair of scissors and then tape it in place. By the way, when this finally goes out on YouTube, hopefully the recovery in North Carolina and the United States will be well underway. But boy, my heart goes out to those folks. Got inundated from a hurricane. Massive damages. So, best wishes to those guys. And to you if you're from there. So now I can spread some epoxy down in here. It won't flow out that way, and it should spread there nicely. So I'll do that. This JB Weld with steel reinforcement is not as flowy as normal being the wrong word. Like JB Weld makes a clear weld. Of quick setting epoxy here. This stuff flows very easily and fills voids and gaps. This stuff flows like molasses in January, if it flows at all. So you can't count on it for being self-leveling in that sense of the word. So let's see if we can get some in there without making a mess. No, I'm getting it on the... These are really a handy tool. This is a palette knife, painter's palette knife, and they cost like $4 at Michael's or something like that. So if you run it, no great loss, you can get another one. But I think I'll smooth this out with the palette knife. All right, let that dry overnight. Then tomorrow, I've flattened this out, and tomorrow we should be able to plug these two holes. All right, it's been about, I don't know, 12, 14 hours. And this has set up pretty well. So let's see if I can get this tape and plastic off without causing too much harm. Oh, look at that. That filled in really nicely. Wow. Yeah, I'm pleased. All right, let's move on to this part. I don't know how well this is going to work, but we'll try it. That's going to go right there and pretty much let me apply epoxy in this void here and in this void here without leaking out too badly, I hope. We'll just have to try it and see. So what I do... All right. I'm facing another problem with this case. I don't know that I've been thinking about it for a couple of days, but I haven't come up with an easy solution. And I'll leave it to you to guess what it is, but it has to do with this little structure here and this little structure here. So that will be for another video. But for the moment, I'm going to see if I can work some epoxy in here and in there and get these sealed up. This is going to leave me quite a bit to clean up in here, but so be it. Can't get a tool in there to smooth it any more than I have. So we'll leave that set for overnight and see how that turns out.